Hey there, good morning. I read an interesting quote yesterday that went something along the lines of, I don't remember it exactly, but paraphrasing was that pain is a great focuser. It causes us to focus on the problems in our lives, to overcome them, and that the avoidance of pain brings about suffering. So what does that mean? We've been talking a lot about obstacles in our lives and the obstacle being the way that we need to go. Because when we face problems, a lot of times we hold back, we become afraid, we don't press forward, or we try to take the easy way around, which ends up we don't develop the strength that we need to overcome those issues in our lives. And life is all about growth, because the moment we stop growing, we stop expanding, and we start contracting and shrinking and shriveling up. And so when we face problems in our lives, these pain points, and by pain I don't mean physical pain, like something hurts physically, but it can be those things, those issues that bother us, that we don't like. Relationship issues, financial issues, business issues, career issues. We know there are areas in our lives that we need to grow and develop, but we hold back. We don't face the obstacle. We don't try to overcome it because we're comfortable in the situation where we're at. Like for me, these days, reading a lot has expanded my mind, my thinking, but at the same time, as my ideas are growing and expanding, I know there are things that areas that I have to grow in, things that I have to learn and develop. And there's that something inside of me that wants to hold back, like, oh, it's okay, we've reached a certain level of satisfaction, status quo, let's just take it easy and hold back. Because to continue to grow, there's sacrifices involved, there's gonna be a certain level of suffering, that pushing past those mental blocks, developing new skills, changing my attitudes, because that's what growth is, right? Like we said, the difference between where you're at, who you are, and where you want to be, who you want to become, is simply the actions that you're willing to take. Not even willing to take, but that you do take. Because it's not enough just to want something, just to will it. You've actually got to take action and make it happen. So the question is simply, how much are you willing to do? So you've got that pain point in your life, and for a long time you can just kind of let it slide. You can blame it on other people, circumstances, the economy, government, whatever. But you just stick your head in the sand, so to speak, and hope the storm passes over. But if it doesn't, that pain intensifies, and it's like when you break a leg or sprain your ankle. That pain keeps you from walking on it. That pain, makes you realize something's wrong and that you need to get that taken care of. You've got to go to the hospital, see a doctor, get the bone set. Even if it's just something as simple as twisting your ankle. So you could just take aspirin to block the pain and keep walking on it. But then that could just will end up making your ankle worse, because you need rest, you need time for the ligaments and bones and muscles all to recuperate. And if you just block the pain and keep walking on it, you're gonna make it worse. You won't feel the pain, but you're not going to recuperate and heal. So the pain causes you to focus and do what needs to be done to eliminate that problem, to eliminate the pain. The pain is simply a focuser of what's wrong, causes you to focus on what's wrong. I mean, if you didn't have any feeling and you stuck your hand in the fire, your hand would burn up and you wouldn't feel it. But if you do feel it, you'll jerk your hand out of the fire, remove it out of the fire, get it away from the heat to protect yourself. So the problem is a lot of times we want to avoid the pain, avoid the suffering, and then we just end up making things worse for ourselves, and in the end that causes more suffering, because there's something that you need to deal with, you don't deal with it, and you just end up making things worse. So, like in my mind, I think back over things that I knew I should have done, skills I should have developed, things I needed to learn, actions I needed to take, courses I needed to develop. But it was always easier just to push them off. I'll do it later. I'm going to do something else. First, I'm going to watch this funny YouTube video, watch some Facebook videos, click, I'll do it tomorrow. Procrastinating, pushing things off. Oh, that's too hard. That's uncomfortable. I don't want to deal with that issue. I don't want to talk to that person right now. Maybe they'll change. And then we just end up pushing things off. Not only do they continue, the situation continues, but it ends up becoming worse. So the question is simply, what are you going to do today to resolve that issue? If you're thinking about English, for example, if you're an English student, a lot of people know that learning English is important. They'll need it someday. They don't study. And then, after they've lost a scholarship because their English wasn't good enough, they got a full scholarship to university, but their English wasn't acceptable. They couldn't get a passing score on the TOEFL. They didn't get the scholarship, or they were trying to get a job in a company, but they didn't speak English, or another candidate spoke better English than them. Or you're studying English even, and you need to practice to develop your skills, but you're afraid to make mistakes. You're embarrassed about what other people are going to think. So it's easier just to stay in the books, just to do the grammar exercises, just to do the lessons, instead of actually getting out, forcing yourself to use the language that you're learning, to speak and put yourself out there. So these are all important things, you know, and that's just kind of been the reflection that I've been making in my life. Like, what am I willing to do? Am I willing to go the extra mile, to do the things that others aren't willing to do, don't want to do? But if I want the results, I've got to put myself out there. So that's it. You know, think about the problems, the pain points in your life, and what you need to do to overcome them, and what you're willing to do to break past them. And I hope you get that pain out of your life, deal with it, because if you don't, it's just going to bring more suffering if you just continue to avoid that particular issue in your life. You know, there may be several issues, but even if you can't do everything at once, you know, take the one that bothers you the most. What don't you like about it? Really dig into that feeling, and, you know, figure out what you can do, one action step you can take today to begin to resolve that, deal with that, and get that pain point out of your life. So leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this. If you feel like sharing what the pain points are in your life, especially if it's regards to English. What frustrates you about learning English? What challenges do you face? What are the difficulties, the things that you have trouble with? And let's talk about it. All right, you have a good day. We'll talk to you later. God bless and bye-bye.